54 years, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict has persisted. On October 7, 2023, Hamas launched an attack on the people of Israel. Regardless of individual perspectives, this act against humanity is one of the greatest tragedies of the 21st century. Since that day, many have suffered, and world leaders and organizations like the United Nations have been working tirelessly to find a peaceful resolution. As of today, Israeli students face a complex environment like the students of the United States did during the 1980s Gulf War conflict and 9/11. As the world dons new technologies and innovations, Israeli students face the challenge of finding a balance between war and peace. Welcome to a special edition of Keep It Rolling. While I will interview two Israeli university students whose lives have been changed forever. You are invited to share your thoughts or experiences related to this topic. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome to Embrace the Power, Keep It Rolling. I got Myra and I got Gillard on. They're in Israel. We're going to just be discussing how college students now view the world since after October 7th, which was a horrible time. So my disclaimer big time is that we don't condone any kind of violence, and it was the worst, one of the worst things in Israeli history, upon other things such as the Holocaust. So with our hearts go out to the 200 plus people that are still hostages and are missing. Let's just be clear about that. And the thing is, right now is my take on today's show is I want to kind of get their perspective on how they see the world. How is that trying to change their perspectives as students or as people who have just graduated, like Gillard just graduated, and going out into the world, and what impact he's going to try to make in a positive manner to make a difference in Israel and globally as he goes through his life, and same with Maya. So with that being said, guys, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be here. Thank you for having us, Vince.
Yeah, you're welcome. Maya, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you for having us.
Okay. All right, great. All right, so real quick, Gillard, give me a little bit of background about yourself, Gillard.
So my name is Gilad from Israel. I recently finished my bachelor's degrees in instructional technologies at HIT. My studies focused on how we can use technology to make education more engaging, accessible, and effective. I must say it's a field that combines creativity, problem solving, and innovation. So all things together really were very excited for me.
Awesome. Hey, Maya, how are you doing?
I'm doing very good. Thank you. So I'm Mara, and I actually just finished my master's degree in instructional technology at HIT, and I'm also starting my doctorate at George Washington University next year. So.
Oh, so you're not going to have a life, is what you're saying, Myra?
Yeah, probably not. Probably not.
Woo, good luck writing those papers. My mom got her PhD at 73. So wow. So Gillard, so just so you know, man, she did it at 73. I got 2 masters. I tapped that. I'm like, I'm good. Hey guys,
so it's gonna be a very busy few upcoming years.
Yeah, a few years, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so I touched on it earlier about since October 7th, and the whole world saw it. And the thing is, you guys were students that are going through your programs at the time. Myra, in your mindset, how has your perspective about things changed since that day?
Well, as an Israeli citizen, I've lived through some difficult times, not just me, as every other Israeli citizen, and we've seen much violence and a few wars, But yeah. Me, myself, I actually, I was only 12 years old when the second war with Lebanon started in 2006, and we lived through that. And, ever since we were and always and still expected to live through those times. But then October 7th came and the worst has happened. And we realized that our enemy is capable of doing a lot more than we thought. And right. We witnessed some of the most horrible doings of human race. And, it's scary and it's sad to feel so, but the word seems a lot scarier ever since.
Oh, I love the way how you frame that. And Gillard, what's your take?
So honestly, since October 7th, I feel like everything has shifted. I mean, events like that make you realize how fragile life is and, how quickly things can change. So I think as a student, I always thought the future was something you prepared for. But now I understand the future is something we have to actively create. I mean, even during tough times, I feel I have a strong responsibility to contribute to my community, to be kinder. It starts from the small things you can do on a daily basis. So yeah, even if it's just small things, that's the way we need to do it. It's just the right way, I think.
So, Myra, from your standpoint, did you have to serve, or was it just one of the things as a student you're just allowed just to stay in school and finish school and do it? Because I know some of your classmates got called to go serve. So, how did that impact the way you saw things?
Well, actually, in my case, I actually didn't have to serve because I'm a woman of a minority in Israel. So
Oh, wow.
I'm actually an Arab. I'm Druze citizen, so I didn't have to serve, but many of my family and friends did. And living through that, I did have some people, a lot of people actually that I know and I still know that are still serving in the army. My husband actually just came back.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, and it's not easy. It's very difficult, living through that, knowing that a lot of people that we love and a lot of people that we live with are over there serving our country, and still getting a lot of negative opinions around the world, saying that they're monsters and they're not doing the right thing, and a lot of the bad negative thoughts that we get. But we just gotta believe that what they're doing is that they're serving the country, they're doing the right thing, they're protecting us, and we just gotta keep on believing on that.
No, and I'm glad you framed it that way, because I think that's the unless you're impacted by something, and Gillard said something that's really profound, is that tough times make strong people, and you
True.
go through tough times to realize where your inner strength is. Because I would tell anyone, I'm a historian, so I could go all day on the survivability of people and how they came through tough times, even Britain when they were being bombed every day, and different things like that. So, Gillard, did you have to serve?
Not this time. I mean, I'm
Not
already
this
not
time.
not doing reserve anymore.
Okay, gotcha.
I did reserve the at the part of the Israeli Defense Force. Almost anyone in Israel is familiar with someone who had something or somehow got harmed from this, this difficult period of time. So yeah, it is difficult, and I will repeat it many times probably. We must stay kind to each other. This is
Oh,
something that anytime I think about it, about this specific period, it's this kind of words: be kind, be kind.
no, no, and you're absolutely right, because if you guys don't know my background, I did serve, and I did 30 years, and there's a lot of things I looked, and I was a student. So just so you know, I was in the middle of in Baghdad, Iraq, taking a class from an Israeli teacher as a student. So if anybody knows about being deployed and taking a class during bad times, is me. And my heart goes out, and I want to say, first, tell your husband I said thank you for his service. Garrett, thank you for your service. And anytime you have to be pulled away from your families to do things for the country, it's hard. My family has had to deal with it also. Responsibility to your community as you guys have went through learning technology. And I think we were talking about this earlier, Gillard, before we got started, is technology is evolving at a rapid pace, and you guys are at the front. It's weird, but you're actually at the front of AI, and which is the new technology. So, Amira, you're about to go in your doctorate. How do you see the technology you're learning now as some framework to help the Israeli community be better in the future?
Well, there's no doubt that the AI, not just the AI, any other technology that is evolving right now is could be very powerful in doing doing that. I do believe that it might have a lot of power, and using that technology, I believe that we have a responsibility doing that in a good manner, in a good way, because I'm afraid that as long as the AI keeps improving and keeps evolving, and as long as it keeps expanding and growing with any clear instructions, regulations, and laws on how to use it, when to use it, and when not to use it, and how not to use it, I'm afraid it would be a threat. So I do believe that we should. I just believe that people need to put some boundaries there,
And so what is I know since you got accepted into your doctor's program, so I'm going to pick on you one more second. What do you plan your thesis to be, or are you still working through that?
I'm still working through that, actually. I don't know yet. It's still a work in progress.
Okay, so is it going to be on technology though?
Definitely, yes. Human technology interaction.
Okay, so same question I posed to Myra Gillard. I'm gonna come back to you right now, Gillard, and ask you, how do you see leveraging technology in the future, since you've just graduated and so you got more knowledge than the average person, because you've done it from the academic side. Now you're going to have to apply it to the hands-on side. So I'll pause there.
So I must say, I'm addicted. I'm addicted to AI, to machine learning tools, things like that. It's already making so much difference in so many areas. It can be, for example, in helping doctors diagnose the diseases faster or create a personalized learning experience. For me, the key is just to use it, and use it responsibly, of course, but use it. I mean, don't be afraid of that. It's a new technology. It's, like we discussed, that in the 70s or in the 80s, there were few other technologies, and people at the beginning were a little bit afraid, maybe. But
right,
it's not about that. It's about embracing the new technologies. It's about embracing the new techniques and things that we can use, and maybe even make our world better.
Oh, so you guys are in Israel, so I know the United States right now, and so the last couple of days they've started passing laws on how to use technology. I know we're having the thing with TikTok right now, where they're deciding whether to let TikTok stay or go. Yeah, it's all right. So we'll leave that alone. I have to behave because this is a little serious here. Guidelines.
If I can assist,
go ahead.
It's about the law of, for example, using pictures of others. If you can use a common creative things, or create them by yourself and things like that. Less about social media and other platforms, but more about how to use things correctly.
Okay, and then make sure you annotate them, because I mean, right now a lot of people in the United States, as we going through this, are their identities being taken by AI. So we had a teacher in Virginia, which I just blows my mind how this happened. Somebody recorded his voice, they used AI, they put out a very negative post and said that somebody had cracked a cell phone, and it was never him. And so they suspended him from his job because they said that the technology that said that it was him. So it took him like 5 months to prove that some students had recorded his voice, changed his words, and put it on this thing. So there's always some ethical issues. And I think that just right there, that small incident showed me the power of AI and technology.
Definitely. That's very scary, to think that, just to think that people are capable of doing such things. It's scary and it's dangerous. So I definitely believe that there should be rules and guidelines on what to do and what not to do. Though it might seem, very, it should be very clear on what to do and what not to do. But I guess some people need those guidelines.
Oh, yeah. And so, no, not only do you're right about do people need guidelines, but let me ask you this, Gillard. So your take on social media right now and the evolution of social media and how it's being used to, and Myra really hit a key point. She says when she was framing it like the world sees things, because I saw the protests in the United States, so how the world sees Israel And a lot of that's driven not by people having facts. It's driven by social media and people making you putting out different platforms and things. So what is your take on the social media environment of trying to get positive social media out as a part? It's so easy to push negative narratives out there in society.
Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation. Social media is tricky, I must say. It's both amazing and frustrating. Because on one hand, yes, it connects people. We can raise awareness, give our voice to those who might not. Um, and on the other hand, it's easy for misinformation to spread. I mean, there are many examples. But right now, I think social media is like a mirror reflecting how divided we can be, but it also shows how much we care. The challenge is to figure out, how to use it in a way that brings people together. Again, there are so many examples of misinformation, and I saw some shows on Netflix, for example, I don't know, on Facebook, on other platforms, where you can actually impact audience. You can impact people politically or against things, or it's just misleading. I wish there was something that was combining laws and things like that around the world to make social media, streamlined and somehow making just things proportional and just give us not fake news, just give us the
Like
right
that.
information, give us
Right.
things that are correct. So yeah, it
And
can be
balance it out.
very misleading.
All right, so I got to throw you guys under the bus, as we call it in America. So your professor, Gila Kuntz, said that you guys are the best and the brightest of her students. And I was like, okay, all right, we're going to go with that. I like it. She spoke very highly of both of you. And so, Myra, my take is, now that you've went through your 4 years there, or I think 3 years, I don't know what it is for Israel, and now that you're about to pursue your doctorate, what are your hopes for the next generation?
Well, for starters, I do. Well, if we're talking about social media, which is a very, very, very powerful tool today, I do encourage the next generation to be more and more skeptical, and I do encourage them to, to share, to post, and to look for more positive content. I do believe that there is such thing. I do believe that there's a lot of good out there and in here. And, these kind of things, I guess they're not too trendy or not sexy enough for people to be watching on social media or any other platform. But it's there. And I do believe that we need to share that good in people. And I do believe that when I said that people should be skeptical, is kind of it kind of connects to what Gilad said earlier. I do encourage people not to believe everything they see or hear, and to make sure that they search for the truth. Look for facts, for real facts, not just AI.
Generated,
generated images or videos. It's very easy to fabricate and create false narratives, but I do believe that when people do look for the truth, they can find it, and that's what I encourage them to do.
Oh, and make a difference in the world. I mean, and I agree with you. I think we've evolved really fast. And Gillard, I'd like to have your take on this. I mean, if you really think about it, we went from DSL in the early 90s, late 90s, DSL. We went analog, dial-up, DSL, and we jumped from DSL to fiber, boom, to the fastest internet we've ever had, 5G. And with no breaks, no parameters. And so as you look at us gathering all this information, Gillard, do you think that we have too much information?
I'm not sure we have too much information. I mean, more info, more data is good, but we need to we need to control it. We need some tools that will help us to deal with that with such a mass of information. Um, so yeah, I think there's a lot of information. I'm always pro data and pro info, but yeah, we need to manage it. We need to really focus on what is true. The fact someone opened some Streamline and said, "Hey, this and that is true," doesn't mean that this is true.
True.
Go and check it. I mean, yeah, a lot of people are very blinded and just looking at the things they are getting in Telegram, WhatsApp, even Instagram and other social media. Um, and it's coming with some headline, and sometimes it's just, again, it's false.
What was the biggest lesson you learned going through HIT this year? I mean, over your time, what was the biggest lesson that, as you as a person, cultivated? Who inspired you while you were there, and what was your biggest takeaway as you've graduated now? What was the biggest thing in your life that just kind of made you think, do a reflection on your time there?
Well, it's actually kind of it's two things, I would say. First, it goes like this. Before I came to HAT, I did a bachelor degree in psychology earlier, and I didn't connect very well to that subject. So it was very difficult for me to finish that degree, and I didn't get a very good grades, and I kind of suffered through that. And then when I came to HIT, and I really connected to what I was doing there, and I just loved every part of it. That's one thing that I want to say is that just when you connect to something, when you believe in what you're doing, I believe you can do it very, very well. So that's one thing. And then the other thing, as I said earlier, and actually I'm a minority in Israel. So when I came to HAT, I was also a minority in my class.
I know that personally in America. But
yeah. So it wasn't always easy, it was very far from home. It was very far from my family, my friends, my regular community. And it wasn't very easy, but it was good, because again, I loved what I was doing. I got connected to people, and I do believe that that's the other take that I want to share, is that when you're doing the right thing, and when you love what you're doing, and you know that you're in the right place, it doesn't matter if you're different. It doesn't really matter if you're a minority. What matters is that you share what you are, and that you really be the true self of you,
Yeah, and I think so. Before I move over to Gillard, I just got to touch still on this and let everybody know. I think the biggest misconception is everybody thinks everybody that lives in Israel is from Israel. They don't realize that there were people from Baghdad, Iraq there that were Jewish. They don't realize they were European Jews. And I think a lot of people don't understand it. So I'm going to put this out there. People need to do the research to understand how Israel, even though it was created, but they also need to understand that a lot of people are Arab. They come from different places around the world, even Africa, and that the misconceptions are a lot. That's one thing that kind of irritates me when I have conversations with people in America at times when we're talking about Israel, because somehow they don't realize that Israel is a melting pot to some degree of the Jewish people. And so I think I just want to put that out there. So when anybody watches the show, they do some homework before they just go, "Oh, you mean she's Arab Jew?" Yeah, because you need to do your homework to understand that people come from everywhere. So Gillard, the same question I posed to you is, what was your major takeaways from your time at HIT?
So during this time, I had 3 years. I met amazing people. Even one funny story is that actually Marach was the first lecturer actually I met. Yeah. So I really met amazing people, lecturers. The technology that I had the privilege, the people and technology I had privilege of really learn and You know, fairly, I did this degree in advanced age. I'm 35 years old
Yeah, I was
compared
going
to
to
other
touch on that.
people.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
going to
so
ask you about that, but go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
it was in the middle of the COVID. I just drank a lot of Udemy online courses, and then I said to myself, why not doing that seriously, right? So again, I really enjoyed my time, and I continue actually to do it with collaboration with the lecturers and continue to learn. Um, this is my personal escapism, I think. It makes me want to learn and do more for myself and also for my community.
So, Myra, what advice would you give a young person that's looking at pursuing a degree in technology?
Well, I actually want to say that, as students, but we are actually the future of this country, in every country for that matter. We're the ones who are going to fill in the positions in every office just in the very near future. So we're the ones who are we're going to be making decisions and, shape the minds of the younger generation. So that's why I believe that it's very important to educate ourselves, and learn from the mistakes that are being made just right now. So I do encourage everyone who's pursuing a career in technology to do just that, because that's where it's heading, and that's what they should be doing.
Love it. And Gillard, I wish I had your guys' accent because you guys pronounce everything so eloquently. So, so Gillard, what advice would you give anyone that wants to pursue? And I'm just, Cabby, right back, same question. Then anyone that wants to pursue technology, what's your advice to them?
Just do it. Really, nothing else. Really, sorry about it. But really, it's true. Don't be afraid of that. Go do it. Go explore. Yes, there are really exploding words and very big and tough subjects, things like that. So what? Go step by step. Start slowly. Start from baby steps. You can achieve everything you want. You just need to want it.
Okay. Yeah. My grandfather, he grew up during when they had the civil rights movement here in America and all that, him and my mom and all of them. And, once he says, the thing is that if you don't dream and you don't pursue, then you have nothing to live for. He says, so regardless, there's always going to be tragedies. And sadly, my dad fought in Vietnam. And so I totally understand that. And he said, but there's always going to be tragedies. But out of tragedies, that's where our greatest people come together, stand up, and make the world a better place. And, and that's what I want to leave you guys with on that note, is saying that I want to thank you for everything that you guys do. And bless you guys for what you've endured. I understand it is one of the worst times in your history. But what I'm hoping is that not just leaders, but the community itself finds a way out of this darkness and into the light to make the world a better place for all of us.